That's cool. It's Bigfoot. Welcome to Classified Captures. I'm your host, Steve. How are you guys doing this week? Hope everybody's well. What would you do if you were walking home at night and saw this watching you from above? Since 2026, reports of Mothman sightings have been increasing, and this footage from California adds to that list. A man walking through his neighborhood noticed something perching on top of a building, partially hidden behind a tree. Then he zoomed in. A pair of red glowing eyes completely still staring out from the darkness. You never see who or what they belong to, but that detail is hard to ignore. Across decades of Mothman sightings from different witnesses and locations, the red glowing eyes are the one thing that always shows up. Well, he didn't stick around, and I don't think I would too. The moment he saw it, he left, and honestly, that feels the right call. Could it be distant lights or reflection? Well, maybe, but the footage is not clear enough to confirm anything. But the position, the stillness, and that deep red glow makes it difficult to brush off as something normal. Now that you've seen it, what do you think was up there? Just when you think that last clip was unsettling, this one takes it somewhere even more personal. A group of friends were camping in the woods and settled inside their tent late at night. Then, through the mesh panel, they noticed something outside, watching them. A pair of red glowing eyes. Red glowing eyes again. Low to the ground, just lingering in the darkness around the tent. The clip only lasts a few seconds, so we never see what happens next or if they even dare to step outside. Most people don't think this is a Mothman. The eyes are too low, suggesting something smaller than what's usually described. But that only makes it stranger. If it's not Mothman, then what stands outside a tent in the middle of the woods at night just staring in? Could it be a prank? Could it be an animal reflecting light? Both are possible, but the stillness, the way it just watches, does not feel like typical animal behavior. Take a good look. What do you think was out there? I'm gonna give a shout out to Santa. How you doing, darling? Do me a favor. Share this channel with as many people as you can. You're the one who seems to get more replies than anybody else in your comments, so that's good. Love you, honey. And Annie, hope you're doing good too, sweetheart. Now, here's the deal. Everybody keeps on asking me if I can sing again at some point. I haven't sung since Christmas time, so this is the deal. We're gonna have a poll. I will either sing for you Bon Jovi, It's My Life, Def Leppard, Love and Hate Collide, or Gary Moore, which seems to be something people want me to sing, Still Got the Blues for You, okay? And I'm going to video myself singing one of these songs, but you tell me which one you want, okay? And then it'll be in the community section. Now, for however many views that video gets, everybody who views that video, please share the channel. That's the deal. I'll sing it, but share the channel. Share Classified Captures, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram, put it everywhere. Just tell people about the channel so we can get more viewers, more subscribers. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. That's the deal. Whoa, that's cool. AI, it's getting so hard to tell these days, isn't it, you know? Is there anything that says anything about this here? Oh, wait, hold on. Someone called Grok. No, the video doesn't seem fake or digitally manipulated. It's a real phone recording, shaky in nighttime, typical for an eyewitness. The triangular object with lights could be a drone, an experimental aircraft, or cloud light effect. Nothing proves it's extraterrestrial. So Grog AI believes it's real. Well, it could be legit then, but my God. Don't you think if this was like new military tech, they would have kept it a little bit more secret? So I'm not sure. You tell me what you think. Oh, oh God, that's creepy. What the hell is that? Oh, it's Bigfoot. Oh man, I'd love this to be real. I would love this to be real. Oh, but then again, he's in captivity, so maybe I wouldn't want it to be real. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Once again, when was this taken? When was this footage supposedly taken? Does it say anywhere? No, it doesn't say. I mean, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. But I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I mean, first and foremost, if they've captured this poor big beast and shoved him in a cage, then I hope it's not real, because this is what humans do with anything unknown. Stick it in a cage, drug it, stick it on a surgeon's table, open it up and see what's inside, you know? This is why I really hope that aliens haven't and don't land on this planet, because human beings will be the ones that don't come in peace, even if they are. Back in 2025, footage out of Chile started dividing people almost instantly. A man had taken his family hiking through the desert in the Lima Valley when they spotted something unusual below them. Tucked between the rocky terrain beneath a large rock formation was a shiny object that didn't look like it belonged there, so they zoomed in. What they found was hard to explain. A large metallic disc sitting quietly in the valley, not a natural formation, not any kind of equipment you'd expect to see out there. Chile is no stranger to UAP sightings. It's one of the most active histories in South America, and even an official department dedicated to investigating them. The Lima Valley itself has appeared in multiple reports over the years, and this looks exactly like what people describe, a classic saucer-shaped object hidden away in a remote desert far from regular human activity. Of course, some believe it's staged, but standing there, looking down at something like that, what would you believe? This man is lying in bed, and you can tell immediately he is terrified. He starts recording and slowly pans his camera toward a mirror across the room, and in that reflection, something is there. A dark figure, humanoid, long hair, just standing there twitching. But when he turns the camera to face the actual part of the room the mirror should be showing, well, there's nothing, just an empty bed. He pans back, and now it's worse. He can see himself in the mirror, and the figure is right behind him, still twitching. He jumps up and checks the room. There's nothing, no one. Then he moves closer to the mirror. It's full length, and at the base, a pair of shoes are twitching. He reaches for them. No one is attached. He even checks behind the mirror, still nothing. But the moment he comes back around, the figure is no longer in the reflection. It's just in the room. Black clothes. Long dark hair still twitching right in front of him. He screams, and the footage cuts. We always say mirrors can act like portals, and this clip definitely leans into that fear. But toward the end, some people noticed details that suggest it could be staged, possibly with someone else in the room. Watch it closely. What do you think really happened here? Now, this one is not easy to watch and it raises more questions than answers. A man had just completed a detox and shared what he found in his bathtub afterward. Sitting in the water were these glowing worm-like shapes, and according to him, they came out of his body during the process. That claim has pulled this clip into a much bigger conversation. Some people believe there are synthetic parasites engineered at microscopic level entering the body through food, water, or medication. The idea is that they go unnoticed until something like an intense detox forces them out. Clips like this are often pointed to as proof. But there's no clear confirmation of what it is exactly in that tub. It could be something else entirely. Still, as more footage like this starts circulating, the concern about what we're putting into our bodies is getting harder to ignore. Look closely at what he found. What do you think this really is?
Okay, y'all. Oh, shit. Here we are in the bath. Come here, buddy. I want to show you something. Yeah. Come in here and close that door so there's no breeze. Shut that door. Come here.
What the heck is that?
Yeah, that came out of my left foot area. Somewhere around my left foot. That came out of it.
Ugh. What the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, he's looking for you, buddy.
Now, this is one of those clips that's hard to process the more you look at it. A couple in Milwaukee spotted a man and got close enough to ask what was going on, because something was very wrong. Both of his ears looked like they were peeling away from his head, partially detached and hanging at the sides. And when they asked him about it, his answer only made things worse. He said he was trying to take off a mask. And that explanation doesn't line up. A normal mask, no matter how tight, does not physically separate someone's ears from their head. That's not how a mask works. People have tried to make sense of it. Some think it could be a medical or psychological episode where he may have harmed himself without fully realizing it. Others suggest a severe reaction to something that affected his perception. Neither explanation sits comfortably. And then there are those who watched this and felt like it pointed to something else entirely, because the combination of visible injury, calm behavior, and an explanation that makes no sense creates a very unsettling picture. If you have more context on this clip, well, that would help. So give us a shout out and let us know what you think it is, because that mask explanation, that's not adding up.
What the happened to your ears?
Wearing a mask, man.
Wearing a mask?
Yeah.
What the that mask? Your mask have razors on it?
Hell yeah.
Damn, let me see the other ears, man. You lying.
No, I'm just playing though. It was a mask. It was
it's like something from The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings or something.
I closed it already.
This is the water we drink.
Here you go, man. You got your boy with the jar.
This is an anglerfish, terrifying I know, but how they look is not as horrific as how they reproduce. It starts with the female, which is much larger than the male. When a male finds her, he bites onto her body and holds on. Then something even stranger happens. They release enzymes that break down his skin and flesh, fusing him into her body. He doesn't just stay attached, he becomes part of her. Over time, he loses his eyes, his digestive system, most of his organs, and what remains is essentially a sperm-producing extension, feeding directly from her bloodstream. And one female can carry multiple males fused to her at the same time. So what you're looking at is not just one creature, it's a host with several partially absorbed males keeping reproduction going. And that glowing light they're known for is not even theirs alone. It comes from bioluminescent bacteria living in symbiosis with them, providing light in exchange for shelter. Every part of an anglerfish's existence depends on something else. It's fascinating and pretty deeply unsettling once you really think about it. This next one is genuinely strange, and it's hard to immediately explain away. A woman woke up in the middle of the night, later checked a bedroom security camera. While she was asleep, the chair at her desk slowly turns on its own until it's facing her bed. Then things get even more unsettling. A few minutes later, she begins hearing oinking sounds, pig noises coming from inside the bedroom. She does not own any animals, and there's nothing nearby that could realistically explain that sound at this hour. Naturally, people have started searching for meaning beyond the obvious. In some religious and cultural interpretations, pig imagery is sometimes associated with negative or unclean spiritual symbolism. And in various paranormal accounts, pig-like sounds are occasionally reported during alleged disturbances. But the combination of movement in the room followed by unexplained animal sounds has led some viewers to believe something unusual is present. Of course, there's still no clear explanation for either the chair or the sound, so the question remains, what do you think was actually happening in that room that night? Now, people have been sharing clips online of food that doesn't behave the way you'd expect, and it has understandably raised a lot of questions. In some of these videos, a watermelon is showing feeling unusually firm and cushion-like, resisting the normal way it would split open. Other clips show meat that appears overly elastic or plastic-like in texture, and bananas that bend and wobble in an unusual way. There are also widely circulated videos from the United States showing bread that behaves strangely, including claims that it doesn't burn normally, absorbs water, and then seems to spring back when squeezed. At first glance, these clips look unsettling because they conflict with most people would expect from food. However, there are also known explanations that can account for many of these effects. Factors like underripe produce, wax coatings, additives used in preservation, packaging methods, and even certain storage conditions can significantly change the texture, firmness, and how food reacts to heat or water. In some cases, footage online can also exaggerate or misrepresent what's actually happening. Still, the broader concern people are reacting to is trust. When food looks or behaves differently from what we're used to, it creates uncertainty about what's normal and what's not. And that's the real question that this raises. How much do we actually know about what's changing in the food we eat every day? Oh, that's really cute. The Sika deer are famous for what? What did it just say? The Sika deer. Japanese deer are so polite. They just start bowing at me. The Sika deer are famous for bowing to tourists, especially when people offer them special deer crackers sold in the area. Now, you see, I think this is wonderful because it just goes to show what proper animal reactions can have when they get used to people and start seeing what they do. Dogs do this all the time, don't they? If a human being is unwell or got a broken leg, the dogs can start imitating the limp and stuff. So this is just really cute. They obviously think, okay, if we bow our heads a little bit, we can get food. Good for them. Someone was grilling chicken when something at the barbecue made everyone stop and stare. One piece of meat started to move in a way that didn't look normal for heat on a grill. It seemed like something was pushing from inside the chicken, creating a visible shifting under the skin, almost like a directed movement. They tried to cut into it to see what was going on, and there was nothing inside. Now, there are real scientific explanations that can account for strange movement in cooking meat. Muscle fibers can contract when exposed to heat, especially in very fresh or recently processed meat. Salt and heat can also cause surface tension changes that make meat appear to twitch or shift slightly. These are documented effects in food science. But in this clip, the movement is what makes people pause. It looks more pronounced than what most people expect from normal cooking reactions. So the question becomes less about what it looks like and more about what it could realistically be that's causing it. If any chefs, butchers, or food scientists have seen something similar, well, this is one of those moments where context would help, because at that grill, nobody had an answer. Now, we'll not have to wait much longer for robots to become part of everyday life, because based on this footage from Warsaw, Poland, they already are. An eyewitness recorded a humanoid robot at night chasing wild boars that had wandered into the city, pushing them back toward the forest. The robot is called Edward and is reportedly designed for urban wildlife control. In the clip, it moves with clear purpose, and the animals react to it the same way they would a human, which makes its presence even more striking. On one hand, it's practical. Wild boars in cities are a real issue in parts of Europe, and removing humans from direct risk makes sense. But on the other hand, seeing a human-shaped machine moving through empty streets at night, doing work that used to belong to people, well, it's not something most are used to yet. If this is what urban safety looks like now, well, what else is already operating out there that we've not fully paid attention to yet? Father was wearing a pair of Metasmart glasses while walking through his house and recording. As he moved through the footage, something in the doorway caught his attention. It looked like his 2-month-old baby peering around the side of the doorframe. He immediately rushed over, but when he got there, the baby was back in the cot, behaving completely normally. The problem is simple. A 2-month-old cannot stand, walk, climb out of a cot, and return in the span of a few seconds, so the clip sparked debate. One possible explanation is far less mysterious. The mother could have picked the baby up, briefly held them just out of sight near the doorway, and quickly returned them to the cot when she heard movement, creating the illusion of something far more unusual. In that scenario, no supernatural element is needed. What makes this clip linger in people's minds is not just what was seen, but how quickly it happened and how easy it is for perception to fill in gaps when context is missing. And that leaves the real question. Was this a fleeting visual illusion or a carefully timed moment that only looked impossible from one angle?
What the? I know I just saw her. Yo, am I tripping? Scrunch, I could have swore I just saw you standing up. I think I got that on my glasses. I got to check and see if I got that on.
Is this even real? A group of men in what looks like a rural area appear to have surrounded something that looks like a Pegasus, a horse with wings. As the animal becomes agitated, it moves, then suddenly spreads its wings and lifts off into the sky. On the surface, the footage looks surprisingly convincing. The motion is fluid, the lighting feels natural, and there's no obvious visual glitches that are immediately scream manipulation. The moment of takeoff in particular feels grounded in physical movement rather than something artificial. But this is exactly where caution matters. We're now at a point where AI-generated video can reproduce highly realistic motion, lighting, and environmental interaction, even for scenes that are completely fictional. A flying horse is also an extraordinary claim by any standard, and extraordinary visuals require equally strong verification before they can be accepted as real. At the same time, a wider conversation around unexplained phenomena has shifted over the years. Things once dismissed outright, like UAP reports or unusual sightings, are now being investigated more seriously in official spaces. That shift makes people more open to footage like this than they might have been in the past. Still, openness is not the same as confirmation. So the question's not just what the video shows, but what would actually be needed to prove something like this beyond a doubt.
भाई ये सच था ना?
It does seem like food companies are changing how they source ingredients, but the reality is a bit more specific than the way it's often framed online. Some major brands and suppliers have invested in food technology companies working on lab-grown or fermentation-based alternatives. That includes research into things like cocoa alternatives, protein production, and plant-based or cultural ingredients that could reduce cost pressures, improve supply stability, and lower environmental impact over time. But that doesn't mean your current chocolate, ketchup, or fast food is secretly being replaced without notice. In most cases, those technologies are still in development, scaling phases or limited trials. When they are used in consumer products, they're subject to labeling laws and regulatory approval in each region, which means companies cannot simply swap ingredients silently while keeping packaging unchanged. The bigger shift happening is not a hidden replacement of food, it's an expansion of how food could be produced in the future. Traditional agriculture, plant-based sourcing, fermentation, and lab-grown technologies are all being explored side by side as demand grows and supply chains face pressure. Where the concern becomes more philosophical is in perception. People are reacting not just to what is currently in food, but to the idea that the definition of natural could change over time while branding stays familiar. So the real question is less about what is already on shelves today, and more about how transparent future food systems will be as they evolve. This story is disturbing, and it's understandable why it sticks with people. A woman shared a Reddit post saying she received a voicemail that sounded like random disjointed words. She asked others to make sense of it. Someone later claimed to decode it using intelligent-style methods and suggests the underlying message read, "I cannot wait to make love to your corpse." According to her account, this was not an isolated incident. She said she had a stalker since she was 16, and that in 2025 she was physically attacked and left with 3 broken ribs. She also stated she still doesn't know who the person is. The thread was later removed after gaining attention, which led to concern about her safety. She also reportedly told others she's in therapy, and a therapist believes the situation involves a parasocial-style fixation where someone develops an intense one-sided attachment to a person who's unaware of them. In real-world stalking cases, this can be obsessive behavior and, well, it's often treated as high risk. What makes stories like this so unsettling is that there is no supernatural element to them. Everything described, if accurate, comes from human behavior alone, including obsession, fixation, and violence. And that's where people struggle most, because unlike fictional threats, there's no mystery to where this comes from.
India Charlie Alpha November Oscar Tango Whiskey Alpha India Tango 10.
And just like that, we're back to our food supply again. If you're in Washington, D.C. or San Francisco, pay attention. Lab-grown meat has entered limited commercial use in the United States, with a small number of restaurants testing cultivated products. This is meat that doesn't come from a slaughtered animal, but from animal cells grown in controlled laboratory environments until they can be prepared and served. Supporters say it's more ethical, more sustainable, and scientifically, some of these claims do have early backing. But that's not where most of the questions are coming from. People are asking what exactly is inside the process behind the cells themselves, what's used to make them grow, what's added to turn a microscopic sample into something that looks and feels like meat on a plate, and how much long-term data do we actually have on what happens when this becomes a regular part of the human diet. And the uncomfortable truth is, we simply don't have decades of human consumption data yet because the technology has only just started reaching the public. So what are we really watching? And is it not just a new food product entering the market? Is it a transition from something experimental to something edible in real time? And the question that keeps coming back is not whether it exists anymore, but how fast it is being normalized while most people are still trying to understand it. Remember that story about the woman who found an old horn buried in a backyard and she blew it, after which she reported strange activity in her home? There's a detail from that footage that's not identified at the time, but people have now taken a closer look at the inscriptions carved into it. The markings appear to translate as above, so below, alongside the alchemical symbol known as caput mortem, which is often interpreted as deadhead or worthless remains. In Hermetic and alchemical traditions, as above, so below is a well-known phrase describing a symbolic link between the spiritual and physical realms. Caput mortem has historically been associated with transformation, residue, and symbolic references to death or what's left behind after change. Taken together, the symbols suggest intentional design rather than random decoration. Whoever placed that horn there did so with specific imagery tied to older philosophical and ritual traditions, and that's what reframes the original story. Because regardless of interpretation, you're left with a buried object marked with symbolic language, later discovered and used without any prior knowledge of what it represented. What follows after that is where people start drawing their own conclusions. "2025 just kicked off, and I've already stumbled upon one of the craziest stories of the year. What you're looking at is footage of a man lying in a morgue. He's covered in a white cloth, and the morgue was closed at the time. Then, out of nowhere, the man pulls the cloth off, sits upright, looks around, and starts freaking out. Wild, right? Reports say he screamed for help until security guards arrived to let him out. But how did he end up in the morgue in the first place? Now, this is where it gets odd. Apparently, this man had been at a party in Russia drinking heavily. He passed out. When emergency services arrived, they mistakenly pronounced him dead. That's how he ended up in the morgue. But surprise, surprise, he wasn't dead after all. Here's the funniest part. After being let out of the morgue, he went straight back to the party. By then, it had turned into a morning gathering to mourn his death. Imagine everyone's faces when he walked in alive and well. This story is absolutely insane. This next video was shared by an older sister who found it while going through her little sister's camera. What she saw was a strange and creepy vlog that gave her chills. In the video, her little sister was in her room playing in a fort she had built and proudly showing off her toys. At one point, she even showcased her skibbity toilet toy, happily talking about it. But then, something unsettling happened. Mid-sentence, the little girl abruptly stopped talking and looked at the corner of the room. Her mouth slightly opened as she stared, completely frozen. After a few tense moments, she abandoned her toys, got up, and hurried out of the room in apparent fear. But here's the creepiest part. After the little girl left, a shadowy figure appeared in the footage. You can see it's a tall, dark shape that walks by the opening of the fort. Is this what the little girl saw? What could this shadowy figure be? Some in the community suggest it could be a spirit, while others think a mother should check the room to make sure unauthorized humans were not accessing it. Personally, I doubt that was human, but let's hear your thoughts. Stepping away from that, imagine you're moving through the woods with your friend when you hear rustling leaves behind you. Scared, you run away and hide, and then this shows up. Can you see it? It looks like our big guy. Well, a version of our big guy, and he's huge. The guys insist that it's real, and Aaron believes them. Just in case you're wondering, this is taken in Jefferson County, Pennsylvania, USA. The paranormal community is divided about this clip, though. Some believe it's the real deal, whereas others think it's a wild attempt for 5 minutes of fame. But what's your pick? Here's an extraordinary piece of footage captured by a hiker exploring a remote cave. Deep inside, the hiker came face to face with a massive black bear. The animal is seen staring intently at the person filming, its dark eyes locked on them as though trying to decipher whether to approach or retreat. The bear's size and presence are intimidating, and the tension is palpable in the footage. Thankfully, it seems the encounter didn't escalate as the hiker slowly backed away without provoking the animal. This is a stark reminder of the risks involved in venturing into wildlife territory. Always take precaution, remain calm, and respect these majestic creatures in their natural habitat. What do you think the bear was thinking about this tense standoff? Next, we got this photo taken from a school in Argentina, actually taken in the school's church. It's a bit dark, but when you brighten it up a little, the details come out better. So you're definitely wondering where the ghost or cryptid is, right? Well, I gotcha. All the individuals in the photo were supposed to be teenagers, but when you zoom in, you see a little girl in a white dress in the photo walking amongst them. According to the uploader, there was no little girl there that day, which freaked the person out, leading to the upload. Some members think it's a spirit following one of the students, whereas others think it's the ghost of someone who might have died there young. Not sure what to make of this one, but perhaps you guys will, so I'm all eyes and ears, and I will be reading the comments. Nursing homes, much like hospitals, are places where many elderly people spend their final years. While stories of hauntings are often heard in hospitals, ghostly experiences in nursing homes are less commonly reported. However, this next video might make you rethink that. Captured on a security camera inside one of the rooms, the footage shows an elderly lady lying in bed, surrounded by 2 empty chairs. But the real mystery lies with the chair beside her. Watch closely as a strange translucent figure seems to float out of the chair, moving away from the woman and disappearing off screen. A few moments later, the figure reappears, this time rising upwards into the ceiling and vanishing completely. Some have argued that this could be the spirit of someone who once stayed in that room. I mean, it's not impossible, but do you guys think there is something more at play here? The simulation theory has certainly sparked a lot of intriguing discussion, and every time a new piece of footage emerges, it reignites the debate in a fresh and fascinating way. This particular footage, taken during an ad break, is no exception. In the video, Montez Ford, a well-known wrestler, suddenly freezes in front of the camera. It's not just a brief moment of stillness, it's an eerie, prolonged pause that leaves everyone around him visibly confused. The people on set try to get him to move, waving their hands in front of his face, calling his name, and even a woman approaches to touch him. But nothing seems to snap him out of it. He remains perfectly still, like a statue, completely unresponsive. This bizarre incident has led to a wave of speculation online. Some people are saying that Ford isn't real, suggesting that he might be some kind of hologram or digital creation, a project of a glitch in the Matrix. Others believe that this is a genuine glitch in the simulation, where the reality we perceive had a momentary error and Ford's freezing was the result of that. On the other hand, skeptics argue that this could have been a deliberate act. Maybe Ford was playing a prank or performing some kind of performance art. Others suggest that it could be a medical issue or a hoax staged to get people talking. What do you think?
Aqui, ó. Misericórdia. Olha isso. Olha essa imagem, meus amigos.
This video, shared by a curious adventurer exploring the woods, captures an extraordinary and bizarre find. In a small, muddy water hole in the middle of the forest, he discovered an odd-looking skull partially submerged in the murky water. The skull had green, crystal-like eyes that seemed to glow with white pearls surrounding them. The rest of the skull was caked in mud, giving it an eerie, ancient appearance. When he lifted it out of the water, it was heavy, filled with the dirty water from the hole. What could this strange skull be? A relic from an ancient civilization, a piece of elaborate artwork, or something more mysterious? My money's on something more mysterious, but let me know what you think.
Então, pessoal, coloquei pra cá. Olha que sinistro isso aqui. E vai ter coisa aqui dentro. Isso aqui tá... Ó, tô falando? Olha isso aqui, já caiu aqui, ó.
A cat owner was filming her pet trying to open a door, a clever trick the feline had perfected by jumping at the handle. Everything seemed normal and even a little adorable, until this happened. The cat managed to move the handle to open the door, but look closely at the glass panel. Do you see it? A pale, ghostly hand appears and pulls the door wide open, allowing the cat to pass through. The eerie part is there is clearly no one on the other side of the door. So what was that? One night, a man was woken up by strange noises coming from the woods behind his house, so he grabbed his camera and a flashlight and headed out to investigate. What he captured on video is downright chilling. In the footage, you can see a creature with its head pressed down to the ground. Suddenly, it whips its head around to face the camera, and the man does not stick around. He bolts out of there as fast as he can. Now, this creature is anything but ordinary. It appears hairless, it's crouched low to the ground, and while its shoulders have a vaguely human-like shape, the overall appearance is disturbingly skinny and unnatural. Could this be a Gollum-like creature, or is it something even more bizarre lurking in the woods? Some members of the community lean towards a cryptid kind of creature, whereas a small sect, and by small, I mean small sect, believe this is nothing more than just a hairless cat.
Would you agree with him, my preciouses?
This footage shows something truly unusual, a glowing figure standing at the corner of a building captured by a local resident. But take a closer look. This isn't just any normal human figure. The entity has a distinct human-like shape, but it's glowing almost like it's emitting its own light. Who or what could this be? The eerie light it emits seems to defy the laws of nature, leaving many wonder if what we're looking at is something beyond our understanding. Some speculate that these glowing entities could be visitors from another dimension, beings that exist on a different plane of reality but occasionally slip into ours. Others suggest that this might be some form of advanced technology, perhaps a hologram or even a being made of pure energy. There are also those who believe that such entities are manifestations of spirits, their ethereal glow a sign of their presence among the living. Despite the numerous theories, one thing is certain: this isn't something you see every day. The mystery only deepens when you consider that similar sightings have been reported in various cultures around the world, often associated with sacred or haunted locations. Could this glowing figure be a guardian of some ancient secret, or is it simply an unexplained natural phenomenon? One stormy night in Mexico, as lightning flashed across the sky and rain seemed imminent, a resident decided to capture the dramatic scene on camera. As he filmed the turbulent sky, something strange appeared in the footage. A rectangular-shaped craft was seen moving steadily across the night sky. It had the sleek, angular look of a vehicle, but unlike anything you'd expect to see flying above. Last time I checked, flying cars were still in the prototype stage, so what exactly is going on here? Could this be some advanced technology we're unaware of, or perhaps an extraterrestrial craft making a rare appearance? You tell me.
Trying to figure out, right? These are human footprints. What is this? I'm a little scared, but what is that? Let me zoom in some. Those are not footprints.
Moving on to aliens, let's take a look at this strange incident from Georgia. On the morning of January the 11th, 2025, a woman woke up to find these peculiar tracks in the snow outside her home. These tracks are anything but human. They're long and narrow. What made it even more unsettling was the fact that there were no signs of human activity nearby. No footprints, tire marks, or anything else that could explain their origin. So she checked her security footage, but oddly her cameras had gone offline and didn't capture anything until after the tracks appeared. That detail sends chills down her spine. She believes this could be alien-related, but not everyone agrees. Some say it could simply be deer tracks. The original poster doesn't think so. And taking a second look, I'm tempted to share her skepticism, especially when you consider the fact that her cameras went off when this alleged being passed by. That could have easily been an EMP, but, well, hey, what the hell do I know?
I'm a little scared, but what is that? Let me zoom in some. Those are not footprints.
And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh? I think it's time to go.
A man was out in the woods collecting mushrooms. I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. A man was out in the woods collecting mushrooms, enjoying the peaceful surroundings as he filmed his adventure. But then out of nowhere, something began to scream, and it wasn't the sound of any animal he recognized. It was loud, unsettling, and almost human-like. The eerie scream freaked him out so much that he abandoned his search and left the area immediately. Whatever it was, it didn't sound like a typical woodland creature. Could this have been Bigfoot, or perhaps some other kind of mysterious entity? The way the scream sounded so human is what made this encounter even more spine-chilling. Before you scream fake, this clip comes from a channel known as Tomorrow's Garden, which usually posts reviews of plants and other mushrooms. I doubt they'd be putting the integrity of their channel on the line for a stunt like this, so this has definitely got to be real. The big question is, what exactly was that?
Looks like it's holding some water. Huh?
What you're looking at is not a leech, it's a groundbreaking medical invention developed in Zurich. This device offers an alternative to traditional blood sampling methods, particularly for those who fear needles. It's shaped like a small futuristic tube, and it uses microneedles and tiny suction cups to draw blood without causing the pain associated with standard needles. The microneedles are so small that they only reach the outermost layer of skin, making the process virtually painless. This innovation could transform how blood samples are collected, offering a stress-free experience for those who dread the sight of a needle. What do you think? Would you give it a try? This eerie footage from South Africa shows a man walking slowly in the middle of a busy road. At first glance, it seems like he might be a lost or mentally ill person oblivious to the traffic rushing around him. However, something truly bizarre happened. The cars appeared to pass right through the man as if he wasn't solid. The man filming the scene was left stunned. Whatever was on the road was not human. Many have speculated that it could be the wandering spirit of someone who lost their life in a road accident, eternally walking the spot where tragedy struck. What do you think? A security camera stationed outside a home overlooking the roadside captured something strange. In the dead of night, a woman appeared out of nowhere by a pillar holding a bag as she walked briskly away. It's very odd how she just appears there, almost like she materialized out of thin air. And she doesn't seem fazed. It's as if she knew the exact moment she would appear. What exactly are we witnessing here? A few theories have emerged. Some suggest she might be a time traveler appearing suddenly from another era. Others speculate that she could have some sort of teleportation ability or supernatural power. And then there are those who believe this is a classic example of a glitch in the Matrix, a momentary lapse in our perceived reality. I mean, I get them for thinking that, but am I the only one thinking of Platform 9 3/4 from Harry Potter? This next footage comes from a parking lot in China. In the video, a scooter is parked amongst several cars when, out of nowhere, it begins to jerk violently before flipping over completely. People nearby notice this strange occurrence and stop to watch, clearly shocked by what they were seeing. When you watch closely, there doesn't appear to be any strings or external forces pulling the scooter. Interestingly, an electrical wire hangs above the parking lot, and some viewers pointed out that it seemed to be moving just before the scooter did. Could this movement be connected to the strange events, or is this an unexplainable, possibly paranormal incident? What do you think? In this pond filled with young fish, one stands out from the rest. It's a fish with 3 heads. While the others appear perfectly normal, this particular fish exhibits an unusual mutation. Such deformities can result from genetic mutations, environmental pollutants, or exposure to chemicals during the fish's early development. In some cases, these mutations are harmless oddities, while in others, they can affect the creature's survival and well-being. What are your thoughts on this phenomenon? We have featured a lot of humanoids on this channel, but not sure we featured a translucent one. Wondering what I'm talking about? Well, pay attention to the clip on your screen. Did you see it? No? Oh, what about if we switch up the view? Do you see it now? The individual who sent this in was walking through a dark area where he felt he was not alone. That's what led him to turn around and turn his camera on while walking. Sure enough, he couldn't really see what he was dealing with, but he could hear it. He somehow made it to safety to his destination and then shared the clip with friends and family. It took a tech whiz to uncover that which was hiding in plain sight. Can't even imagine how he would feel using that stretch at night now, especially if it's only the route available. Someone recently shared a piece of footage that's leaving a lot of speculation. In the clip, you see a glowing orange orb suddenly shoot out from the woods nearby. It hovers for a moment, then it darts towards a parked car, and it explodes on contact. The whole thing looks unreal, and no one really knows what to make of it. Some are calling it ball lightning, which is a rare atmospheric phenomenon that appears during storms. It's been reported to float, flash, and even explode. The thing is, this incident didn't happen during a thunderstorm, and the way it targeted the car doesn't feel random. That's where the theories started to branch out. A few people have speculated that this could be a directed energy weapon, possibly a test of some advanced tech, something military-grade. That would explain the precision. But if that's true, then who fired it and why in a public area? Others also dismiss it as AI-generated footage. But here's the thing. The explosion looked real, so if it is fake, it's a really convincing one. So what do you guys make of this? At first glance, this footage might look ordinary and not promise much, but there's more to it than meets the eye. The security guard on your screen was asked to investigate the highlighted area because someone felt there was something or someone there. Now, that's the least desirable place any normal person would be at that point of the night. There's barely any light there. Personally, I would have been a bit hesitant to go check it out, but that's why I'm no security guard. Once he's there, he looks over the wall and then ducks. Why? Well, let's take a look at the clip again. This time, zoomed and slowed down. Did you catch that? There's a pale-looking figure moving in that area. Once it notices the man coming in its direction, it moves into the darkness. I don't know about you, but I don't think that's human. Members of the community agree with that assertion, but are unable to agree on what exactly it is. Some think it's a rake, whereas others think it's some sort of skinwalker or something. Personally, there's not a lot of footage for me to get a decisive guess, but you guys have seen it, so perhaps you have another perspective you'd want to share. I'm all eyes and ears. While I don't recommend touching colorful creatures in the ocean, what the individual in the next clip did is also something I don't recommend at all. So, the clip opens up with someone walking along the corridors of a home. The person looks up and sees a strange being standing on one of the structures of the place. Instead of leaving and getting safely inside, the person approaches the being for a clearer view and capture. The result is a better video, yes, but after a few seconds, whatever it is that he or she was filming disappears and leaves him or her alone. The big question is, what if that being decided to harm or hurt the individual? How would he have escaped and been safe? Speaking of the being, what do you think we're dealing with here? When I first saw this footage, I had to do a double take. Just look at this bird swimming under the sea. It's moving so effortlessly and quickly that it almost seems too impressive to be real. For a moment, I thought this had to be some kind of fake, but then I did some research. This, my friends, is a puffin bird. Yes, the same beautiful bird we often see perched on cliffs or waddling along the shore. But they can also swim. Watching it glide through the water with such grace is truly something to behold. Who knew these little guys were such skilled swimmers? What's fascinating is the puffins are not just dabbling on the surface like many birds, they're actually diving deep, using their wings to fly underwater in search of fish. They can go as deep as 200 feet and stay underwater for up to a minute. It's like they have a whole second life beneath the waves that most of us never get to see. Usually we have unruly siblings bombing our almost perfect pictures, but what happens when the person or individual bombing your photograph is not among the living? The clip on your screen was captured by a sister trying to get a perfect video of her brother passed out after drinking too much. After she'd captured a few seconds of footage, she retired to bed. The next morning, she goes over the clips they captured and sees this. Not sure if it was obvious to you immediately, but there's a hooded and possibly feminine figure in the hallway. Earlier, she thought it was one of them, but when she asked the only person it could be, she stated emphatically that she was not the one. There was no one else with them that day. This led to one conclusion. What they'd captured was a spirit, most likely demonic. She then shared the clip and story on TikTok. Many individuals agreed that it was demonic, and some even asked her to bring a priest for an exorcism. Who knew you could accidentally capture a ghost while trying to tease your brother? I would have done it a long time ago. These days, it feels like everyone's got a UFO story. Lights in the sky, silent discs hovering above neighborhoods, strange shapes vanishing into thin air. Most of them, to be honest, tend to look the same, silver or glowing white, maybe cloaked and fuzzy around the edges. But this one was different. This footage came out of the Philippines. A local managed to capture it. Floating high in the sky was a bright green disc-shaped object. A nod green from a reflection, this thing looked like it was glowing from within. And the shape was the classic flying saucer, except instead of the usual metallic or white shimmer, it was glowing in this almost neon green hue. Nobody's come forward to explain it. No local air show, no weather balloons, no aircraft that matched the description. So what are we really looking at here? A new kind of tech or a genuine unidentified green flying object? A new innovative approach to burial is gaining attention. A Mycelium coffin, also known as the world's first living coffin. Mycelium is the root structure of fungi known for its ability to decompose organic matter and enrich the soil. This groundbreaking coffin is designed to naturally accelerate the decomposition process while nourishing the earth. Unlike traditional coffins made of materials like wood or metal that can take decades to break down, the Mycelium coffin can fully decompose within 30 to 45 days. Additionally, it reduces the environmental impact of burials, making it a more sustainable choice. This concept challenges our long-standing burial traditions. What do you think about this eco-friendly innovation? Would you consider it for yourself or a loved one? Ever since the congressional hearings stated that UFOs and UAPs may exist, stories that have to do with aliens and the like are getting revisited. And I didn't see why we shouldn't visit the alien Peru story. For those unfamiliar with it, Peru alien refers to small humanoid mummies discovered in Nazca, Peru, in 2017 and claimed to be extraterrestrial due to their elongated skulls, three-fingered hands, and alleged age of over 1,000 years. Recently, however, they have started cutting up these mummies to investigate. Their fingerprints and thumbprints already point to the fact that they're not human. They have even allegedly found chips in some of them. Presented by journalist Jaime Moussin, these remains sparked global intrigue but were widely debunked by scientists as hoaxes, likely fabricated using human and animal bones or explained by ancient cultural practices like cranial deformation. Newer mummies have been found in Mexico with similar descriptions, though. This has left many wondering if these were the original beings that the fakes were made from. I have questions too, but first, what do you guys think of this? Anyone who's been on this channel for a while knows how I feel when it comes to night shifts. It's definitely not for the weak. This young man found out the hard way after he started noticing strange things going on at his workplace. He tried for several nights to record and capture something out of the ordinary, but it's almost like whatever was responsible for the strange occurrences knew what he was trying to do and kept a low profile. That at least was the case until recently. In the clip you're watching, he was moving around filming because he sensed something was off again. After moving around for a while, he felt uneasy and turned around. In that brief moment, he sees what looks like a child behind him. Nothing serious, right? Wrong. He was alone, and there was not supposed to be anyone there with him. In that moment, he was scared. But it turns out that whatever or whoever that child was, it had no interest in him. Shaken, he uploaded the video online, proving to everyone that he was not imagining things, and neither was he making them up. Some commend him for his bravery for staying to work in such a place, especially after that encounter, whereas others remain skeptical. They say that he could have easily arranged with the kid to show up at that time and then used some camera trickery to get away with it. Personally, I don't know how that would work, but you guys saw everything as well, so what do you think?
What's going on, guys? Making a video. It's been a couple days since I made the last one. I'm feeling good. That was... Yo! Hello? What the f*** is going on? Jesus Christ, it was behind me.
I always say research a house before you move in, but for one family, this advice came a little too late. They just moved into what seemed like a great new home. Everything looked fine on the surface, but soon after settling in, strange things started to happen. At first, it was a few odd noises, flickering lights, but it didn't stay that way. In one piece of footage, you can see the camera panning across a room where the ceiling lights are swinging violently back and forth, even though there's no one touching them and no breeze to cause it. The person steps out into the hallway and the lights there are doing the same thing, swaying aggressively as things also escalate from there. In the kitchen, the cabinet opened on its own and its door was flapping. The chairs around the dining table have been scattered and you can hear objects sliding across the floor. Now, people are speculating that it's a restless spirit or a residual haunting, or maybe something even darker. Whatever it is, this house clearly has a history, one that the family didn't know about until it was too late. So, the next time you're looking to rent or buy a place, maybe take that extra step and ask questions, because some houses don't just come with good bones. This photo was taken back in 2015 by a man named Samuel. He was just hanging out in the living room with 3 other people. 2 were across the room chatting, and 1 was lying on the couch glued to their phone. It was nothing out of the ordinary, just a chill night. Samuel decided to take a quick selfie to capture the moment, but what showed up in the photograph was anything but ordinary. If you look at the top left side of the image, there it is, a strange humanoid figure just standing in the background. At first glance, it almost blends in, but the more you look, the more chilling it becomes. The figure looks like a woman in what seems to be a robe with short curly hair. None of the people present recall seeing anyone like that in the house. In fact, no one noticed anything unusual until they looked at the photograph later. There's something ghostly about her presence, the way she just stands there completely still, barely noticeable. She doesn't look pixelated or glitched like you'd expect from a camera era. She looks real, too real. Samuel didn't provide much context either. He didn't say if he recognized her or if maybe someone who once lived or died in that house might have resembled her. But what we do know is that there were 4 individuals physically in that room, so who was the 5th figure in the photo? This next footage comes from Mexico, and it's got the internet buzzing. What you're looking at is a strange craft just hovering silently over the area, not moving forward, not shifting to the side, just sitting there still, almost like it was watching something. Now, what makes this even more bizarre is how stable it looks. There's no sound, no visible propellers, no obvious signs of how it even stayed in the air. It doesn't look like a drone, and it certainly doesn't move like a plane or helicopter. Most people who've seen this clip are quick to say the same thing. This could be a UFO, and honestly, it's hard to argue with that. Mexico has long been a hot spot for strange aerial sightings. From ancient legends about sky gods to more recent UFO reports, there's just something about this region that keeps attracting the unexplained. Some believe the certain locations act like energy portals or hotspots, drawing in unknown crafts from who knows where. As for the footage, there's no clear answer yet. No one's come forward to claim it was a prank, and no authorities have said it is a weather balloon or military test. So this young guy was exploring the town after midnight, which is never a good sign. Anyway, he fancies himself a brave person and starts to record and broadcast the moon that night. It was at that moment that he spotted it. Moving on the bridge was a quadrupedal or quadruped moving with purpose. Any normal person would have immediately left, but not this guy. He gets closer and sees a white creature he suspects is a Cadejo Blanco. The creature starts to knock on something close to him, probably as a warning. Slowly, his suspicions are confirmed, and then and only then does he start to tactically back away from the spot. For those unfamiliar with it, the Cadejo Blanco is a mysterious and powerful figure in Latin American folklore, often described as a large, white, dog-like creature that roams the night. Unlike its malevolent counterpart, the Cadejo Negro, the Cadejo Blanco is seen as an ambiguous figure, sometimes viewed as a protector and other times as a harbinger of a difficult fate. It appears to individuals at crossroads in their lives, offering an unsettling presence that may either guide them toward redemption or lead them into a path of peril. The Cadejo Blanco's motivations are unclear, and its appearance often leaves a lingering sense of unease as it moves with a silent, almost supernatural purpose through dark, desolate places. Perhaps this young guy needs to brace himself for what's about to come. Who knows what it could be?
El Cadejo, men. El Cadejo. Vimos el Cadejo Blanco. ¡Ay, Dios! ¡Dios! Tocaron.
Okay, this next footage comes out of Los Angeles, and it's got people genuinely puzzled. I mean, it's not every day you look up at the sky and see this. A man was filming in broad daylight when he spotted something hovering way up in the sky. At first, it looked like your typical blurry UFO sighting, but the longer you look at it, the stranger it gets. When the footage zooms in, you can actually start to make out what looks like a form, not the hard shape of a flying craft or balloon, but something almost humanoid. It doesn't exactly look mechanical either, which is probably why a lot of people watching this are leaning toward a different theory that it is some kind of entity, not a UFO. Of course, skeptics say it's probably a weather balloon or maybe a drone covered in something lightweight like fabric, but even that doesn't really explain how this thing was just there, motionless, with no visible strings or support. And the way it's shaped really throws people off. So what do you think? A cleverly disguised drone or something watching from above? Olive oil is often praised as one of the healthiest oils we can consume. So anytime we see something labeled as olive oil in a video or in a store, we automatically assume it's healthy, but not so fast. There's something out there called olive oil blend, and it's made up of 90% canola oil and only 10% olive oil. Now, the problem is canola oil isn't exactly the best option for your health. Studies have linked it to inflammation, and some say it's not great for your heart either. But because it's much cheaper than real olive oil, many brands mix it in and still label the product olive oil. So while these blends may look like a more affordable choice, they come at a cost: your health. Always check the label. If it doesn't say 100% extra virgin olive oil, it's probably been blended with something else. And remember, cheaper isn't always better, especially when it comes to what you put in your body. Not sure if you knew this, but researchers typically worked independently of Big Pharma, so their research could be objective. Recent evidence, however, shows that this might not be the case anymore. Between 2020 and 2022, a significant conflict of interest emerged in the medical publishing world. A study published in JAMA revealed that nearly 59% of US-based physician peer reviewers for 4 of the most influential medical journals, that is, the BMJ, JAMA, The Lancet, and the New England Journal of Medicine, receive financial payments from drug and medical device companies. These payments totaled a staggering $1.6 billion, with over $64 million going towards general compensation like consultant fees and speaking engagements, and the remaining $1 billion classified as research funding. This revelation has sparked concern because these reviewers play a critical gatekeeping role in determining which medical studies get published and which findings gain credibility in the medical community. Since doctors, hospitals, and policymakers often rely on these journals to guide treatment decisions, the influence of industry money raises serious questions about bias, transparency, and trust in scientific integrity. While the journals do have conflict of interest policies in place, critics argue that greater oversight and disclosure are urgently needed to prevent this objectivity of medical research and protect public health. Simply put, receiving monies from Big Pharma will most likely make them put out research in favor of these companies at the expense of our health. So not sure which app this individual is using, but it appears to be one of those mapping apps. He picks out a location to which he zooms in. After zooming in for a while, he stops, and then we see what he's trying to show us. There's a man or a thing in a tree. Not sure if he has a rifle and he's aiming down or what, but that's most definitely not an ordinary photograph. We have no backstory or anything to this. It's left some who took an interest in it confused and wanting the individual to come out and explain. Unfortunately, there's no exhaustive explanation online. So do you guys know what's going on here? Would you take lab-grown milk? Sounds absurd, right? Good thing we can't make milk in the lab. If that's what you thought, think again, because they actually have done it. Have you heard about unreal milk? It's the latest food trend that could totally change the way we drink milk forever. Instead of cows grazing on farms, scientists are now growing milk in a lab. Yep, that's right. They take mammalian cells, typically cow cells, and grow them in bioreactors, which are machines that basically mimic how cows produce milk. The result? A product that tastes and looks just like regular milk, but with no cows, no farms, and no natural processes involved. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? But what if I told you it might not be as harmless as it sounds? Now here's where things get wild. While lab-grown milk is supposedly identical to real milk in terms of taste and texture, it doesn't exactly pack the same nutritional punch. Some experts are worried this could be the beginning of a bigger agenda. After all, what's stopping them from manipulating the nutrients or even altering the milk's properties in a way we can't even imagine yet? Could this be the first step toward a future where all our food is lab-created, designed not for nutrition, but for control? What if they start replacing more and more natural foods with lab-grown alternatives that don't have the same benefits? It's enough to make you wonder whether we're headed into a world where biotech companies control everything we eat, down to the very milk we drink. And that's not even the most disturbing part. Some conspiracy theorists believe that lab-grown milk could be a cover for something much darker. Think about it. If biotech companies can grow milk from cells, what else can they do? Could this be a way to manipulate our food supply on a global scale, making us more dependent on genetically engineered products? And with our diets shifting toward more synthetic options, what does this have to do with our health in the long run? If we're not careful, we might be looking at a future where we've no idea what's in our food, or even worse, where our food choices are no longer ours to make. Is it just a scientific breakthrough, or are we witnessing the beginning of a much more controlled and manipulated food system? I guess only time will tell. This next footage was captured high above Texas by a pilot flying at 45,000 feet. He noticed a strange light flickering in the sky, just hovering there. At first, it was a single light glowing faintly, and then it simply vanished, but that was not the end of it. Shortly after, 2 more lights appeared, floating in the same area. No one had a solid explanation for what these lights could be. The most popular theory is UFOs, just like many of the strange, shiny orbs we've seen in the sky before. However, some skeptics point out that as the camera moves, so do the lights. This leads them to believe it might just be a reflection on the camera lens, not actual glowing orbs in the sky. But even then, the timing, the way they disappear and reappear, well, it's all a little too eerie.
Wait. Well, it stops position, and then it goes away.
What is that?
And then there's 2 more.
Where?
Right below it.
Where? Point to where there's another one.
Remember that video from a while ago, the one with those strange underground sounds? Well, we might just have another one. This time it comes from Kentucky.
I finally found it again after like 3 weeks. Listen to this. I don't know if you can hear it or not. It's pretty windy.
A man was out for a walk when he started hearing something odd. He pulled out his phone and recorded what sounded like this strange mechanical heartbeat-like thumping. It's not muffled either. It's clear, rhythmic, and deep. Although like a grunt, but machine-like at the same time. No one around could tell where it was coming from. Nothing was visible, just the sound echoing from somewhere beneath the ground. This has kicked off a wave of theories and speculation. Some skeptics think it's nothing more than underground construction machines digging tunnels, maybe a pipeline or even secret transportation system. And to be fair, that could make sense in some places. But others aren't quite buying that explanation at all. They believe this is something much deeper. One of the more intriguing theories is that it sounds like it's coming from an underground civilization. Yeah, you heard that right. People are saying this might be evidence of a hidden city beneath our feet, one that's been there for ages but is now beginning to reveal itself. Then there are the doomsayers, the folk who think this is some warning sign like pressure building beneath underground, something natural and dangerous. An earthquake, a massive sinkhole, or even some unknown disaster waiting to break free. Whatever it is, we still don't have answers. The sound is real, the footage is real, but the source is still a mystery.
Pretty windy.
The clip playing on your screens right now has gone viral in the paranormal community, and for obvious reasons. It features a creature that the uploader insists is Bigfoot. While it does have that ape-like appearance, you and I can agree that's no gorilla or chimp. Although it doesn't look like it, the uploader also states that it's about 8 feet tall. The clip was shared by the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or BFRO for short. The clip was recorded on the 18th of May 2025 by one Edward Henry and his son. The debate has been raging on since they shared the footage, and it's made its way into my office. While some team members thought it could be real, someone other than Julius, aka our video editor, thought it was fake. He played the video for us all in the team conference room, then paused right about here. Do you see it? There's a distinct separation in the hair at the base of the neck and shoulder. Unless Bigfoot grows different types of hair around their body, which stand apart and stand out, that looks like a mask, at least according to our video editor. As though that were not enough scrutiny, he also points out that the arm of Bigfoot when he stretches it is more proportionate to human arms than what we have come to see and accept in Bigfoot lore. To him, this is simply evidence that the Bigfoot is a man in a costume. Crazy, I know, but he does make some strong and interesting points. You've seen the clip, and you've heard his thoughts. So what are yours? What on earth is going on in this crazy world? Now we've reached a point where we have to buy sunlight, and no, I'm not joking. There's a company called Reflect Orbital, and they're proposing a plan to sell sunlight to people at night. Yeah, you heard that right. They want to reflect actual sunlight down from orbit, illuminating parts of the Earth after dark, and charge people for it. I mean, let's be real. The day's already chaotic enough. We got work, traffic noise, everything packed into these daylight hours. So when the night finally comes, it's supposed to be a time for rest, quiet, and winding down. But apparently some people think we still need daylight even at night, and they think we should pay for it. Just imagine you're trying to sleep and someone literally beams artificial daylight through your window and charges the city for the privilege. It sounds crazy, but it's on someone's vision board. So are we just trying to outshine nature now? Because if we're buying sunshine, what's next? Renting oxygen? We got another strange UFO sighting that was shared by an observer flying over the Atlantic Ocean. This time, it wasn't just a light, it was a glowing red formation behind the clouds. From the footage, it seems like some kind of shape or pattern hiding just behind the clouds layer, but it's hard to say exactly what it is. Some people believe it looks a lot like a UFO or even a fleet of them. Interestingly, a few pointed out that the light formation kind of resembles the Pleiades star cluster, also known as the Seven Sisters, and honestly, they're not wrong. You can kind of see the resemblance. But what's throwing everyone off is the color, that intense red glow, and since it's tucked behind the clouds, we never really get a clear look at what's creating the light. So what do you think? Is it just a weird atmospheric event, or something more? It appears humans are starting to take this whole playing God thing a little too seriously, and depending on how you look at it, that might not be such a bad thing, or it might be terrifying. Scientists have just unveiled something interesting. These adorable, fluffy white wolf cubs, but these aren't your average wolves. These are direwolves. Yeah, the same direwolves that went extinct around 13,000 years ago. Using fossil samples and some genetic engineering, researchers have managed to bring them back, not in theory, but in reality. 3 living direwolf cubs. That's right. They've grown them, they're alive, and they're here. And just look at them. Tiny, pure white, and honestly kind of cute, but knowing what they are hits differently. Direwolves were once apex predators, larger, stronger, and more brutal than today's grey wolves. They roamed the lands in packs and dominated wherever they went. So, are we bringing them back just to look at them, or are we starting something much bigger? Because if we can bring back direwolves, what's stopping us from resurrecting other extinct creatures? If you've been on this channel, then you know that the de-extinction of the saber-toothed cats and mammoths is in the works. What could be next? Our human ancestors? Okay, maybe I should pause here and not give them ideas. Next up is another strange anomaly, but this one wasn't found in the sky or in some hidden cave. It was discovered right on the forest floor. At first it looks like a leaf, but with how it writhes and twists, it isn't normal. It also has spiky edges and a tail. What stood out were these spiky or thorn-like protrusions along its back, giving it a jagged, almost armored appearance. It didn't appear to have a visible face, or if it did, it was either obscured or extremely underdeveloped, which only added to the eeriness. Some compared its movements to those of a dying fish or an insect struggling on its back. So what could it be? A few guesses are floating around. Some think it might be a rare type of amphibian or insect in its larval stage. Others believe it could be a malformed reptile or even a mutated creature affected by environmental factors like pollution or disease. There's also the chance that it's an undiscovered species or one so rarely seen that it isn't well documented. So any ideas of what this could be? If one tenant were to break their contract and leave abruptly, you conclude the tenant isn't to be trusted. But what happens when it's not 1 or 2 or 4, but 8? Even more? Well, you'd have to investigate, and that's exactly what this landlady did. The clip you're watching is of her going through the property, wondering if there was anything wrong with it. While there, she began to hear disembodied voices attempting to make contact with her. When she doesn't respond, she starts hearing rattling, only to approach the place and find out that there's something trying to get in one of the rooms. Fortunately for her, she was recording, but she concluded there was enough detective work for her and left the place. She shared the clip with friends and family who told her that the apartment is definitely haunted. Still worried and confused, she uploads the clip onto a paranormal platform asking for steps to banish the supposed spirit. The only response she got was she was better off cutting her losses and selling the apartment. What would you have done?
Entonces, el Señor dice... ¡Hey! ¿Andan acá?
We've talked about chemtrails a lot on this channel. You know, those strange trails in the sky that people swear aren't just harmless condensation. Whether it's weather modification, mind control, or something even deeper, the theory's out there, and for good reason. Too many of us have seen patterns, footage, and effects that don't quite add up. But the clip we're looking at today hits something else entirely. There's no plane in sight, just the chemtrail and a shadow, a clear dark streak running alongside it in the sky, and that's what's so strange. If there's no plane, what exactly is casting that shadow? It doesn't move, it just lingers perfectly aligned like it's stretched into the clouds. I've watched it frame by frame and it still doesn't make any sense. Some are saying it's a trick of the light or atmospheric illusion, but others think it's proof of something being projected or hidden from view. Whatever it is, it's unsettling. This is Corleo, a robotic marvel straight out of Japan developed by Kawasaki. It's a four-legged robot designed to carry a human rider, yeah, like a mechanical horse. And honestly, it's one of the most impressive yet slightly unsettling things to come out of robotics in recent years. Just watch how it moves very smoothly with calculated steps across uneven rocky terrain. It doesn't wobble, it doesn't hesitate, it just climbs up hills and slopes with ease, then descends like it knows exactly what it's doing. The rider on its back barely flinches. That's how balanced and precise this machine is. It mimics the way real animals move with such fluidity that you almost forget you're watching a robot. And as much as I want to applaud the technology, and I do, there's a part of me that finds it just a little too advanced. It's like we're watching the first steps towards something bigger, something that maybe doesn't stop at just being helpful. Think about it. Robotic animals that can carry humans, climb mountains, and potentially go where real machines can't. Well, this isn't just a cool gadget, it's a glimpse into the future of mobility, warfare, rescue missions, and who knows what else. It's impressive, it's exciting, but it's also a little bit terrifying. What do you think? Not every strange encounter happens in the dead of night or deep in the woods. Sometimes it's in the middle of a quiet field or what should be a routine patrol. This happened to a police officer during a normal shift. He was out patrolling the area when he spotted a car parked all alone in an open field. There were no houses nearby, no roads leading directly to it, so he decided to check it out. As he approached the car, something instantly caught his attention. For a split second, he swore he saw a hand pressed against the inside of the window, but it vanished almost as soon as he noticed it. He immediately thought someone might be trapped inside, but when he got up close and looked in, the car was empty, no driver. But that was not all. Suddenly, music started playing from the car, a random, almost old-school song when the car was not in ignition. Then, just as abruptly as it started, it stopped. The officer was shaken, and honestly, who wouldn't be? Seeing an abandoned car in the middle of nowhere at night with a hand that vanished and music that played out of thin air. So what exactly happened here? Was this a haunted car, a residual presence left behind by someone who died inside? Whatever it was, that officer didn't stick around long enough to find out.
Like somebody's in the car. I swear to God, I saw somebody in the car. This is some spooky shit right here. I'm gonna have to call this in the sheriff's department. Don't hear the music no more.
Remember those strange sky trumpet sounds people used to report all over the world? Loud, airy blasts echoing from the sky? Well, something new just dropped, and it's not the same. This time, it's not a trumpet, it's a knocking sound. A video recently surfaced from New York where people heard what sounded like slow, heavy knocking sounds coming from above. And this wasn't some muffled rumble, this echoed clearly and deeply. Some people described it as more terrifying than the trumpet sounds we've heard before, and that says a lot. Now, when the trumpet-like sounds were first recorded, scientists and experts labeled them as skyquakes, a phenomenon caused by shifting air pressure, temperature changes, or even distant earthquakes. But this knocking doesn't quite fit that explanation. So what could it be? Some speculate it could be industrial or construction noise bouncing through the atmosphere. Others think it might be a sign of something tectonic or even something unexplained. Others also said it could be messages from other dimensions or something tapping at the veil that separates us from whatever else is out there. Whatever the case, this wasn't just a one-off. More people are starting to notice that the sky isn't as quiet as it used to be. So keep your ears open because whatever's knocking might not be done yet. Night shift encounters are often the most unsettling ones, and this story just proves that. A young woman was working the late shift at a building. At some point during her shift, she started hearing odd noises like someone was pacing or waltzing just outside. So she stepped onto the balcony to look around, but there was nothing. Complete silence, just darkness and empty space. She brushed it off and decided to head back inside. She stepped into the elevator alone and was the only one there at the time, so she took the opportunity to roll a card back to her station. But then the camera inside the elevator caught something chilling. As she stood there on the reflective elevator wall, her phone captured the pale face of a woman. She had a hollow black eye and an eerie, gaping mouth. The reflection was right behind her, but when she turned around, there was no one there. Nothing. Just her. Since that night, she's said to have felt strange, cold spots, unexplainable noises, and the constant sense that she's being watched. She believes that whatever that thing was, it followed her home, and that it latched onto her somehow. But what exactly was it? She says it was a demon, but others think it could have been a ghost. There are some who also believe she's making a fuss over nothing, but what do you guys think? Most of the time when we see strange sightings, our first instinct is usually, well, it's probably just someone in a costume, and fair enough, plenty of hoaxes out there. But then there are those clips that are just too hard to debunk. Take this footage for example. A woman was at home when she noticed something bizarre. Through a window above a front door, she saw a head of a strange creature peeking inside the house. It had long, dark hair, and its face could not be made out clearly. Here's the thing. That window is way too high for any normal person to just stand there and look in. It's that high, almost touching the ceiling. You need a ladder or something just to reach it. So what exactly was up there? Some say it might be a ghost, others believe it's some type of cryptid, something not entirely human but also not quite animal. So what do you think it is? Gardeners all over have started sharing some bizarre footage from their gardens, something that's left a lot of people scratching their heads. In one particular clip, someone is casually tending to their garden when they come across what looks like an odd plant. It just seems like some kind of root vegetable, maybe an onion or tuber, with leafy green sticking out from the top. Nothing too out of the ordinary until they try to brush some of the soil off of it. As soon as they touch it, the thing darts off at full speed across the garden bed, and there are several clips from different people with this encounter. Whatever it is, it runs, and no, not in the blown-by-wind kind of way. The camera struggles to keep up, but you can clearly see that this isn't a rooted plant at all. It's some kind of creature perfectly disguised. So what exactly are we looking at? Well, some say it could be an insect or amphibian species that mimics plant textures to blend in. Others suggest it's just a clever prank with a remote-controlled toy. But the way it reacts feels too real to be fake. Whatever it is, I think we can all agree that if your plans start running away from you, it's probably time to go back inside. Would you work in a place haunted by ghosts? The most logical answer would be no. But what if you don't believe in ghosts? Then you'd most likely be driven to take the job and prove to everyone that there are no such things. That was the situation the one who uploaded the clip found himself in. After taking a security position in the school, the other members of his team told him to avoid certain locations because they were haunted. They added that if he must go to these locations, then he mustn't go alone. He must go with another guard. I'm sure he thought it was funny. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to say, but thankfully for him, his colleagues showed him the clip you're seeing to warn and tell him these things aren't real. It was then, and only then, that he believed everything he had been told. He uploaded the clip to his socials, letting everyone know ghosts exist. Some in the community bought it. Others felt this was just doctored security cam footage. So what does your gut tell you?
What was it, girls? I'll get you? Did you guys hear that, though? Yeah. Possible Wendigo. Sounds like a couple of them.
A man had gone out in the woods for a peaceful walk with his 2 Rottweilers. It was just supposed to be a relaxing stroll deep into the quiet forest. After some time, they reached a river hidden in the heart of the woods. The man settled there for a bit, letting the dogs wander off to play along the edge of the trees. But that calm did not last long. Suddenly, the dogs came bolting back, ears pinned, tails tucked, completely panicked. Something had scared them badly, and then he heard it. A loud, bone-chilling screech. The sound seemed to twist through the forest, bouncing off the trees in ways that made it impossible to tell exactly where it was coming from. Now, most people would probably jump to the usual suspects like skinwalkers, wendigos, maybe even a banshee. These are names that come up a lot when people report hearing terrifying cries deep in the woods. But this time, some folks suggested something different: the Amazon death whistle. A mysterious ancient artifact from South America that, when blown, emits one of the most unsettling human-like screams you will ever hear. It's not just loud, it pierces you. Some believe it was used by warriors to strike fear into their enemies or possibly to summon spirits. But what would a sound like that be doing in the middle of a random forest far from the Amazon? Was someone or something trying to scare him away, or was it just a coincidence that this strange cry matched that of the infamous whistle? To this day, the man swears he didn't see a single thing, but he heard it, and judging by how fast his dogs ran, they heard it too. What do you think was hiding in those trees?
What was it, girls? I'll get you? Did you guys hear that, though? Yeah. Possible Wendigo. Sounds like a couple of them.
This next footage comes from Brazil. A man was out walking one night when he noticed this figure just standing in front of the building a few steps ahead. At first, he thought it was just another person out late. Maybe someone is waiting for a ride or hanging around. Nothing too unusual. But then a motorcycle came riding down the road. Its headlights hit the figure directly, and here's where things get creepy. The light didn't bounce off like it should have. It went through the figure, and just like that, the figure vanished in a thin air, completely gone. If that wasn't enough to rattle your nerves, listen closely to the video. You can hear dogs barking like crazy right as it happens. It's like they sensed something wasn't right. And when you look carefully, you see that the figure didn't even have a head. Yeah, it's headless. This man was so spooked he didn't stick around to investigate, and honestly, who can blame him? Anyway, what do you think? Was this a glitch in the camera or something far more chilling? I know what you're thinking. Bigfoot clips like this don't come around all the time, and you'd be totally right. The clip appears to be of great quality, which is something of a rarity for Bigfoot clips. Beyond being of great quality, this clip shows us something we seldom see when it comes to Bigfoot clips. Bigfoot is going through someone's private property. This looks like a hen coop or something along those lines. So what's going on here? Well, if you lived anywhere near Humboldt County in California, the Wichita Mountains in Arkansas, or the thick woods of eastern Oklahoma, this wouldn't seem at all foreign to you. There are these old stories that people have been passing down for generations, and I'm talking weird stories. Stories about encounters with something big, quiet, and definitely not human. Farmers in these areas talk about their animals, especially chickens and goats, just disappearing in the dead of night. No trace, no sign of struggle. Their pens are torn open with some kind of crazy strength, but there's never any animal tracks left behind. It's like the animals vanish into thin air. And if you think that's strange, it gets even weirder. People who live out in the sticks far away from anyone else say they've heard all sorts of things at night. Some say they've heard heavy footsteps outside their cabins, like something walking on two legs. Others talk about hearing weird raspy breathing just beyond the trees, or even strange whooping sounds echoing through the night. One farmer near Broken Bow, Oklahoma, even said he saw this huge shadow crouched in his coop one night, glowing eyes staring at him before it disappeared into the forest. These aren't folks looking for attention, so we could say they manufacture these stories for social media, but no, they're off the grid, living tough lives on the land. But a lot of them still keep rifles by the door and stay out of the woods once it gets dark. Why? Because they're not sure what's out there anymore. This clip comes from that area, and the uploader is showing it off as proof of Bigfoot in that area. Personally, it had me sold at first glance, but the more I watch it, the more it becomes clear that this might have been created using AI by someone who wants to take advantage of the lore in these areas. That's my opinion, but what do you guys think? While you wrap your head around that, I've got a clip that's got a creature that's headless. Yeah, just pay attention. See it? It looks like what I would call or describe as a smoky or misty being, aka a ghost moving through the woods. It appears to have a lot on its mind, that is, if it can exist without a head and moves along without noticing the camera. The uploader of the clip mentioned that they'd always felt like there was a presence in that area, but had no way to prove it until they saw this footage. We're not told where or when this was recorded, but to some in the community that doesn't matter because it's the real deal. You've seen the clip, so is it. A man recently bought a new house and moved in not too long ago, but soon after settling in, he started experiencing some strange things happening around the place. And you already know how I feel about buying houses that might be haunted. It's a no from me. But this guy, he didn't seem to mind at all. The next time something weird happened, he decided to film it. He was in the living room, picking out something to watch, and his camera was already rolling. That's when he noticed the lights leading to the bathroom hallway started to flicker. Curious, he got up and walked over, and that's when it happened. Right there in the open doorway to the bathroom, a dark figure suddenly peeked its head out and looked straight at him. Now here's the part that gets me. He didn't even freak out. Instead, he calmly talked to whatever it was and rushed inside to check behind the wall, but it was gone. No one was there. He steps back out, and that same figure shows up again. Now, I don't know about you, but if a shadow figure started popping up in my hallway, I'm packing and sleeping somewhere else. But hey, not this guy. What would you do if something like this happened in your new home?
Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you. Leave my lights alone.
That's an airplane that's going on.
Oh my god. It's an asteroid for sure, dude. Meteor shower? No, it's an asteroid that just exploded when it hit the fucking, what's it called? Atmosphere.
Moving on from that, we take to the skies where we see something that you don't typically see. At first, I thought it was a shooting star, but clearly it's not, and it's got smaller orb-like structures around it. Unlike many of the processed videos we see, this one seems to have unfiltered audio with a lot of wind and comments in the background, which gives it some legitimacy. Now, the individual who allegedly recorded and uploaded this didn't share any more information because he didn't have any. He had questions, and the community had theories. He initially thought it was an asteroid, and he can even be heard saying that in the clip. The community didn't, however, share his view. Some believed this was a man-made craft making a re-entry, others thought it was aliens. A few in the community asked whether it was filmed and wondered if it could be SpaceX. The uploader, however, didn't respond. It's almost like he vanished after posting. Some think the government got him, whilst others think he simply made the whole clip up. Hard to say which it is, but what do you think?
Asteroid hit the atmosphere.
In this particular clip, captured by someone's doorbell cam, we see what looks like a craft take off into the sky. What caught my attention was the fact that the clip was captured in a residential area. It's the last place you'd expect planes or crafts to be landing and taking off from. Many in the paranormal community believe this is a spaceship. To them, it doesn't take the form of any craft we know from our planet, and if we're being sincere, that's true. The way it takes off is also reminiscent of alien ships, at least the version we have accepted to be true in our heads. Some also feel this is just edited footage, but opinions are like noses, everyone has one. I would want to know your opinion on this clip. Okay, let's talk about this strange-looking creature someone spotted right outside a shed. The footage was posted by a very shaken witness who couldn't believe what they were seeing, and honestly, I get it. It looks really ugly. This thing was just standing there on the ground, perfectly still, staring straight at the person holding the camera. It had this weird, almost alien-like appearance with big eyes, a strange fuzzy texture, and this odd shape to its head that made it look like it had some sort of fang poking out. No wonder people online were quick to call it alien in the comments. But before we go jump into conclusions about extraterrestrials, let's take a closer look. What you're seeing is a baby owl. Yeah, believe it or not, this awkward, slightly horrifying little thing is just a juvenile owl, likely a barn owl, or one of the smaller species common in rural areas. The reason it looks so strange is that it hasn't fully matured yet. The feathers are still coming in, and they puff out in this uneven fur-like way. Combining that with its eyes and the unusual posture, and you got yourself this hideous thing. So no, this isn't some alien creature spying on us from the woods. It's just one of nature's less photogenic kids. It's creepy, but also fascinating once you know what you're actually looking at. In the paranormal community, there's a strong belief in alternate realities, and surprisingly, even some branches of science support the idea. The theory goes that we all have alternate versions of ourselves living out different lives based on the decisions we didn't make. Parallel timelines where everything is the same except just slightly different. A woman recently shared a story online and it's got a lot of people talking. She said she was at the mall casually shopping when she noticed a woman who looked exactly like her. And not just in the face, this woman had the same hairstyle, the same body shape she used to have 15 years ago, but that's not all. The woman had 3 kids with her. 2 of them looked exactly like the children she has now, but the third, well, that one shook her. Years ago, this woman had a miscarriage. The child she lost was a boy, and in this moment, standing in front of her was a woman who looked just like her with 2 familiar children and a 3rd child, a boy who would have been about the same age as the one she lost. She was shocked. But she didn't take any pictures or videos. She just stared, trying to make sense of what she was seeing, and then she ran straight home. She shared an old photograph of herself from back then with her 2 children at the time, saying that they looked exactly the same. But we cannot confirm without this evidence, so could this woman have been an alternate version of herself?
Haircut that I just showed you, but they looked like this. Like I was too stunned to do anything. All I could do was sit there and watch her. Watch me? Us? I don't know. But the even crazier part is there was a boy that was with us. He was a little bit older than my oldest daughter, and the craziest part about that is I had a miscarriage when I was 18. And I knew it was a boy. But I sat there for like 2 seconds and I watched them and they looked so happy. And then reality hit me and I realized like what the fuck is going on, and it scared me and I just took off.
If you love meat, this one's for you. Recently, independent individuals have been examining pre-made meat under high-powered microscopes, and their findings aren't exactly fun. Oh, no, fun isn't quite the right word. Healthy. Yeah, healthy. If you're wondering what I'm blabbering about, these pre-made meats have live parasites in them. I know what you're thinking, but Steve, all meat have parasites in them. That's why we cook them. Well, yeah, but according to these independent researchers, the level of parasites discovered in these meats were bad. Very bad. In other words, the source of the meat was questionable. They didn't mention brands because, well, they didn't want to get sued, but just consider this as an alert or friendly advice to check your meat sources and thoroughly cook them before eating. If you like to have your meat rare or medium rare, well, be careful. Very careful. Oh, no, 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 no. What the hell kind of a fish is that? Looks like one of my ex-girlfriends whenever she got angry with me. Jesus, man. Yeah, I can't watch this anymore. I've been Steve. This has been Classified Captures, and I'll see you on the next one. Share this, share this, share this.